Today, we are pulling back the velvet rope to dive into the shadowy, fascinating, and, let's be honest, often scandalous world of celebrity blind items. So let's just start with the question that really gets to the heart of all this. What rumors are hiding out there in plain sight? This is so key because it taps into the whole appeal of blind items. This idea that the real truth about our favorite stars is out there, just waiting for us to piece it all together from these anonymous whispers. Okay, so before we get into the really juicy examples, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What even is a blind item? Well, think of it like a riddle. It's a gossip story, almost always posted anonymously, that spills all the scandalous tea about a celebrity, but, and this is the important part, it leaves out their name. The fun and the controversy is all in the clues that are left behind for internet detectives to solve. First up, we're diving into the case of Jimmy Fallon. And this story is a perfect example of how one single blind item can just completely spiral, you know? It can ignite this huge firestorm of speculation and drag up years of rumors about a pretty beloved late-night host. It all kicked off with this bombshell of a post. So this item drops online claiming a popular host had secretly fathered twins. With just that one vague clue, social media and online forums just exploded with theories. And the consensus pretty quickly pointed in one direction: Jimmy Fallon. But, a supposed secret family, that was just the beginning. This first rumor was like a key in a lock. It just opened the floodgates to this whole cascade of other allegations. We're talking everything from a drinking problem to creating a toxic work environment, stuff that had been kind of swirling around him for years. And this is where the story really takes a turn, right? It moves from just personal gossip to some pretty serious professional allegations. A report came out quoting current and former staffers who described working on The Tonight Show as, well, a nightmare. They painted this picture of an erratic boss and a workplace that was just crippled by fear. Okay, next up, let's turn our attention to an heiress who's been under a lot of scrutiny. This story, which is all about Apple Martin, taps right into the cultural obsession we have right now with Nepo babies and all the complicated stuff that comes with inherited fame and privilege. Now, this blind item, which pretty much everyone believes is about Apple Martin, daughter of Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. No, it landed on really fertile ground, fueling these already existing online rumors that she'd been kicked out of a previous school for bullying. And then a single viral photo became Exhibit A for all of her critics. So at a debutante ball, another young woman is posing for her photo, and Martin just jumps into the frame, strikes this really over-the-top pose, and completely steals the spotlight. For people online, this wasn't just some harmless photobomb. It was like visual proof of that entitled, mean girl behavior the rumors were talking about. Okay, so from the legacy of a famous family, let's now shift gears to a rivalry that's been fueled almost entirely by fans. We're going to break down the persistent copycat accusations that have followed Hailey Bieber for years. This blind item just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up the main accusation that has really dogged Hailey Bieber, that her whole brand, her style, even the way she talks, is just a carefully constructed imitation of her husband's very famous ex, Selena Gomez. And here is a perfect example of what her critics point to. When Hailey Bieber launched her Grand Road, fans immediately dug up an interview where her mission statement sounded almost identical to something Selena Gomez had said just the year before. For them, that was the smoking gun. And it did not stop with that one quote. Oh no. The online sleuths compiled video after video showing what they say is a startling pattern of imitation, from telling the exact same personal stories to using identical catchphrases. For a lot of people, the evidence just seems overwhelming. Our final story today is, well, it's probably the most ethically complicated. It really forces us to confront some difficult questions about truth, about timing, and about what respect, if any, is owed to the dead. This blind item is all about the intense controversy that just erupted right after the death of the beloved actor Eric Dane, who most people know from his role on Grey's Anatomy. To really understand the fierce public backlash here, the timeline is everything. I mean, this wasn't just about what was said, it was about when it was said. Just as fans and his co-stars were posting tributes and mourning his loss, a former background actor came forward with a very, very different story. The accuser, a background actor named Laura Ann Tull, was completely unapologetic about it on social media. She didn't just accuse Dane of being a bully. She actually took credit for getting him fired from the show years earlier. And what makes this whole situation so messy and so complicated is the stark contrast between these public accusations and Dane's own final words. In a message he left for his daughters, he acknowledged his flaws, saying, "I stumbled sometimes." But he ultimately focused on love and on living in the present. This just created a really complex and poignant public narrative around his death. So, after walking through these 4 very different but equally compelling stories, what's the ultimate takeaway? What have we learned from our little journey into Hollywood's Whisper Network? At the end of the day, I think what all of this really highlights is the incredible power of unverified information. I mean, none of these blind items are confirmed facts. They're totally anonymous, untraceable whispers. And yet, whether they're true or not, they have this undeniable power to shape how we see people, to fuel online narratives, and to permanently change a celebrity's legacy. And that leaves all of us with the ultimate challenge, right? In an age where literally anyone can post anything anonymously online, we're left with this huge, lingering question: where do we, as the people who read this stuff, draw the line between just harmless gossip and damaging truth?